Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 188. We finally got some more data about Tesla semi-trucks, and the hype seems to be real. And we have a new story that puts yet another nail in the coffin of hydrogen cars. And what we figured would happen when Volkswagen fired Herbert Diess has come true. And the US Energy Secretary went on a road trip with EVs, but clearly not Teslas, as they couldn't find enough chargers. And the German transport minister tried to convince countries to support e-fuel, but no one listened. And we got some leaked pictures of Tesla's new robotaxi. And the EU Commission is discussing how to stop the Chinese invasion. And Tony Seba's predictions continues to come true, and Tesla continues to break records. All of this and much more in today's episode. So let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
We finally got some more data about Tesla's semi-truck, and as expected, the hype about the truck is real. The Tesla semi-truck is at the Run for Less event, North American Council for Freight Efficiency's 3-week-long assessment of electric vehicle fleets. While there will be 21 commercial EVs at the event, the Tesla semi-truck seems to be the highlight of the entire event. And data from the event shows the true capability of Tesla's semi-truck. From the information gathered, the Tesla semi-truck seemed to be living up to the hype, as I made a whole video about this week, but Tesla's Class semi-truck was put through the test at the event, and Dave Mullaney from the Rocky Mountain Institute shared the information from Tesla semi-truck runs on his LinkedIn page. So his conclusion is that the truck is for real, and we of course don't know all the details of elevation and cargo weight and so on and so on. So still a lot of unknowns, but as you can see, one of the trucks would have been able to do more than 400 miles on a single charge, and on day 3 we saw one truck do 806 miles with one charge in between and making 5 deliveries. So not bad at all. But we will get all the data after the event, including cargo load and elevation and so much more. So that is going to be very interesting. So again, someone should probably go see if Daimler has bought 2 Tesla semi-truck, as Daimler's head of trucks, Martin Daum, said back in 2018. If Tesla really delivers on this promise, we will obviously buy 2 trucks, one to take apart and one to test, because if that happens, something has passed us by. But for now, the same laws of physics apply in Germany and in California. Well, Martin, it appears that something or someone has indeed passed you by. Or Tesla just has better technology and engineers. Because the Tesla semi-truck is delivering on its promises. So good luck, Daimler, on catching up, which you probably never will, because if you buy 2 Tesla semi-truck, rip them apart and copy what Tesla has done, Tesla will have moved even further ahead when you finally get a copy on the market. So the one copying will never lead. It's about the pace of innovation, as Elon always says. And if you are copying, you are not even making innovation, you're just copying. So it's already over. Tesla is moving faster than you can, and you are already far behind. So if Tesla also can deliver on their promise of 50,000 in production in a couple of years, they would become the second biggest Class A truck manufacturer in the US, almost matching Freightliner. We in the Tesla community are seeing this all too often, that even good news about Tesla can be spread as bad news on different outlets depending on their bias. But now we can get a good idea of why, and also check how reliable these news outlets really are. Ground News, the sponsor of this video, they are gathering 60,000 news articles every day. They show where these news outlets fall on the political spectrum and how reliable they are. using independent third-party news monitoring organizations. It was founded in 2018 by a former NASA engineer. It has really helped me get some perspective of some of the topics being reported on in the mainstream media, and their app is absolutely awesome, also with their map features that shows what's being reported in a specific location. Very cool. Really a powerful and helpful tool. I love it. So if you want to check it out, go to ground.news/bestinTester to stay fully informed on breaking news, compare coverage, and avoid media bias. Sign up or subscribe through my link for 30% off limited access if you support the mission and find it as useful as I do. People thought 20,000 euros price for changing your battery pack of an old Tesla Model S from 2013 was expensive, so they blew it up. Remember that? Yeah, but this hydrogen car from 2015 needs repairs for about 104,000 euros. What BEVs has been falsely accused of is true for hydrogen cars, as Alex wrote on Twitter. After 7 trouble-free years and just 84,000 kilometers on the car, the owner of the Hyundai iX35 hydrogen car is asked to pay 104,764 euros for the repair of his vehicle. So let us see him blow that car up instead of the Model S that needed battery swapping. It will also be a much better explosion. But the car is dead as a doornail, and a fault message appears when it started. The owner believes that Hyundai must take back the car, which in his view is not ready for series production. Even though the 5-year manufacturer's warranty has long since expired, the owner patently bridged the lack of hydrogen filling station and initially even drove to Würzburg, 114 kilometers away, just to fill up the pressurized tank for a range of 400 to 500 kilometers. Hyundai admits that such a repair no longer makes economical sense. Hyundai blames the rarity of the model as an explanation. The iX35 is a pioneer of fuel cell technology, according to the manufacturer. Again, the argument for hydrogen car is that it only takes 5 minutes to fill it up. It's just a joke. This guy only had to drive 114 kilometers just to get to a filling station and then use 25% of the range of the car to get back home, and he of course needed about 25% of the range of the car to get to the filling station in the first place, so he really only has about 200-250 kilometers of range to use in his car, where the EV just charges at home. And so far, after decades of hydrogen cars on the road, there are still only about 254 hydrogen stations in all of Europe. And remember, these stations only have hydrogen enough to fill up about 50 cars. So in all of Europe, there are only enough hydrogen stations to fill up about 12,700 hydrogen cars. So it is a good thing that these cars are not selling very well, as they are twice the price of a BEV and cost 3 times more to fill up. And Shell has pulled down all their hydrogen stations in the UK last year, and this year the worldwide sales of hydrogen-powered vehicles, cars, buses and trucks fell by 11.5% in the first 4 months of 2023. Even in Japan, where they have the most filling station, the sales of the hydrogen car fell 75% in the first 4 months of the year. The hydrogen car is already dead. But BMW think it's the future. I feel so sorry for the people working at BMW. Their captain is guiding their ship directly for an iceberg, which the rest of the industry has already seen. As of today, it is only Toyota and Hyundai that really have any sales of hydrogen cars. I know it is only because the fossil fuel industry wants to keep hydrogen alive this is still a thing, as today 98% of all hydrogen is made by using fossil fuel, so just another way of keeping the fossil fuel industry going a little while longer. And they have convinced politicians that this is a good alternative to ICE cars. Yes, it was 30 years ago. But it's still too expensive, inefficient and dangerous, and the sales have gone nowhere in the last 20 years. It is already dead, just like this man's hydrogen car from Hyundai. Such an expensive and inefficient technology no longer makes economic sense. Volkswagen continues to try to fool everyone into thinking there is a big slowdown in BEV sales, and that is why they will now slow down their shift to BEVs. So what we feared would happen when they fired Herbert Diess has come true. Volkswagen's head of R&D, Grüns, said, "For us it's important not to overwhelm customers by moving too quickly into e-mobility. That's why our combustion engines make sense." Too quickly, you say? Well, if that is your goal, you have definitely succeeded. As of Q2 this year, Volkswagen had 7.7% BEV in their sales. But I guess Volkswagen thinks that is a little bit too quickly. In 2023, their production is still 92% ICE cars. Well, in Europe, we are about 15% BEV sales already as of today. So Volkswagen will be down in sales because compared to what the demand for BEV actually is, and not what Volkswagen tried to fool everyone into believing, Volkswagen production is about half of what is needed in Europe. And in China, their biggest market, the BEV market share is 25% as of today, and rising fast. So here Volkswagen produce less than 1/3 of what is needed to meet the demand for BEVs. Even the world's slowing moving car market of the three big ones in Europe, China and the US BEV market share grew 57% year over year in Q2, and BEV constituted more than 7% of total passenger vehicle sales in the US in Q2. So even the US is at the level of Volkswagen BEV's production. And I know there are other markets than the big three, but this is 80% of the entire global car market, and they are all at or above a Volkswagen share of BEVs in their production. And it's still rising fast, so looking at the facts, there is no denying that what Volkswagen is doing is trying to come up with excuses as to why they cannot keep up with the BEV production compared to the demand we see for them. But I did show in one of my latest videos why this is. Firstly, they are losing money on all their EVs, so they don't really want to. And Volkswagen is, as of now, just above the emission target the European Union has set, so they will no longer get any fines as they did in 2020. So as I said in that video, we will not see a big jump in BEV production from Volkswagen until 2025, when the new Euro 7 emission standard comes into play. And Volkswagen is forced to make more zero-emission vehicles. So people still think Volkswagen showed some good moves of rising up fast to 500,000 BEVs sold, but people forget they were forced to get to those levels. They didn't want to. Volkswagen actually got a fine of more than 100 million euros in 2020 because they only got to 231,000 units. And only by pushing out unfinished ID.3 to the market in Europe, they got just close to the target. So the board of Volkswagen just don't want to sell BEVs. They only sell what they are forced to do. But now they're even in more trouble because they found out that the competition is fierce in China and that not many wants to buy a Volkswagen BEV, but would much rather prefer some of the Chinese, the BYD or Tesla. So I personally think Volkswagen is in huge trouble as they wanted to just be above the target so they don't get fines. But in 1.5 years, they really have to ramp up again, and they don't have a compelling enough EV to really be successful in China, their biggest market. And they even think that making the design more boring will help them. Oh my God, Volkswagen, you are truly misguided. So they really don't need to slow down their EV production as they are far from keeping up with the global demand we are seeing. So they will shrink. They should spend all their time and effort on getting their Trinity platform ready as they promised by 2026 and not delay it until 2029 at the earliest, as this could be the platform that could save them, as their MEB platform is just simply too inferior to what BYD, Tesla and many of the other Chinese automakers are offering. But no, Volkswagen think it's time to slow down the EV production, and that all they need is just to make their BEV design more boring to help them grow in the future. Yeah, without Herbert Diess, Volkswagen has really lost their way. This will not end well. We are watching a car crash in slow motion. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. We are seeing the disruption of the energy sector. Energy from wind just overtook gas for the first time ever in the UK. And as you can see, wind has completely taken over for energy from coal. Nice. And the little X the coal and wind has made is what we will see from ICE cars versus BEVs. We are just not that far ahead yet. And apparently, Tesla has achieved a breakthrough in single-piece car casting, as a report from Reuters says. The breakthrough Tesla has made centers on how the giant molds for such a large part are designed and tested for mass production, and how cast can incorporate hollow subframes with internal ribs to cut weight and boost cross-worthiness. Using 3D printers and sand. We don't know if Tesla is able to get this technology in production for the next generation vehicle, but definitely something to keep an eye on. And on an EV road trip, the US Energy Secretary couldn't find enough chargers. Her caravan included a Cadillac Lyriq, Ford F-150 Lightning and a Chevy Bolt. Yes, Mrs. Secretary. There is a reason why they all joined Tesla's network. A little hint that you should probably have been driving a Tesla instead. Then there would have been plenty of chargers. So this is kind of sad, as Jennifer Granholm went on this road trip to prove how great the electric vehicles are, and then they ran into trouble almost immediately as they found not enough charging stations because they were not driving a Tesla. She even sent her staff ahead with gas cars and had them reserve a spot for her at the electric charging station. A family ended up calling the police because her staff was using gas cars to block electric vehicles from using the stations. So this road trip ended up being not much else but embarrassing. And I showed in last week's news show some of the new EVs that were shown off at the IAA in Munich, but the German transport minister Volker Wissing was also there, and he tried to persuade countries to sign up to a statement meant to be announced at the show backing synthetic e-fuels as an option for cutting greenhouse gas emission from passenger cars, but it was scrapped because of disagreement on the proposed text. So German politicians are still fighting for e-fuel like it is some kind of good alternative to ICE cars. But people tend to forget they still emit greenhouse gases, and yes, they do capture CO2 when it's made, but it still put out toxic gases in our cities no matter what. In that regard, they are no better than ICE cars running fossil fuel. Even Volkswagen has said e-fuel is unnecessary noise. Combustions will be over by 2035, so no one is really backing up e-fuel, as it still pollutes our air, and it's even more expensive than making hydrogen that does not emit any toxic gases. E-fuels are even dumber than hydrogen, and that is saying something. But the Germans are desperate to keep their ICE business alive. But dear Wissing, it is already dead. You just don't know it yet. And I hope you watched my video this week about all the leaked pictures of the new Tesla Robotaxi and all the things that are really starting to come together, combined with all the new things we have learned from the little snippet of the new book about Elon Musk from Isaacson. But if you haven't, you should really check it out. We are truly entering the last inning in this game. Link down below. And yes, I am reading the book right now, so I hope we will learn a lot more in the coming week. But we did get some of the first pictures of the first sketch of the Tesla Robotaxis from the book. And Raphael on X made some concepts cars from all the leaked pictures and comes up with this one. That would definitely look like something straight out of the future, like Elon said. Hope this concept is closed because this is looking amazing. And Roland shared this great chart showing Tesla's growth compared to the same period last year is a multiple of the other automakers. So again, Volkswagen, the only pure BEV maker on this list, is the one that is growing the fastest. But sure, Volkswagen, there's no demand for BEVs. Slow down that production. In Europe, Tesla sold 205,000 units in Europe this year through July. But in all of 2022, Tesla sold 192,000 units. So with 5 months left to go, Tesla already have beaten their old record in Europe, only up 134%. Remember how Gordon Johnson and Mark Spiegel and many other Tesla Qs thought Tesla would die in Europe because of all the competition that's here. Those comments aged like a milk in the fine summer sun. And if we look at China insurance number, the same picture is emerging over here. The nice straight line in 2023 continues. As we can see on yet another great chart from Roland, the cumulative sales of Tesla's cars in China is just about to hit last year's total. They have passed 400,000 units sold in China year to date. That is more BEV sales than most other legacy automakers will do in the whole year, globally. But Tesla is having trouble in China. Yeah, right. And the amount of cars sold in the US from Tesla is pretty much on par with China. Tesla sold from January through July more than 390,000 units. The closest competitor sold 1/10 of that. So when we hear comments thrown around about competition has come for Tesla, no. There is still no competition for Tesla in the US. No one is even close. And the thing to notice is that Rivian is now almost as big as the Volkswagen brand in the US when it comes to EVs and has already overtaken Audi. For the legacy automakers, even talking about catching up to Tesla just seems so ridiculous. When we look at this chart, even other little startups like Rivian have even overtaken them in EV sales in the US. Kind of embarrassing, but Tesla is leading the way as always, and that is without the Cybertruck that will probably start small deliveries this month and then ramp up next year, and also without the $25,000 car we might see next year in small volume if we're lucky, but definitely in 2025. And those two vehicles will set Tesla apart from anyone else. And Tesla is already in a league of its own. It is going to be brutal for the competition in the US over the next couple of years. And this is Tesla's full lineup over the next years. And then in 2 years' time, we will even have the biggest mass market car ready as well. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not part of the competition. So if we add up all the sales numbers here we've just been talking about in Europe and China and the US, and then we have not even taken all the other countries into calculation like Thailand, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand, and many others. So we should have long passed the 1 million mark for this year through July. And Tesla should be able to make about 150,000 every month for the rest of the year. So the 1.8 million should be pretty easy target even with the slowdown in Q3 because of all the retooling of the factories for the refreshed Model 3 and so on. The target should be pretty much a done deal. And I just have to show you guys my country's growth in Tesla sales, because in the first 8 months Tesla grew 420%. Yep, 420 compared to the total of last year. Year to date, Tesla actually grew even more, almost 700% in my country. Yeah, I guess Gordon was right. What a busted growth story. It has busted out of its shell and blew up in his face. And if we look at Germany, the story is still the same so far this year. Tesla Model Y is the best-selling BEV in Germany. No Volkswagen BEV models is even in the top 10. The ID.4 and the ID.5, that is joined together in a group, they are only at place 11. And the Model Y is even the 5th best-selling car in Germany overall, even beating out local favorites like Volkswagen's Passat or the Skoda Octavia. And apparently Tesla China has made a significant progress and is tentatively scheduled to release the full self-driving in Q1 of next year. Judging from the timeline, it will probably be version 12. Very exciting. And Tony Seba's prediction continues to come true, as he wrote on X. In my 2014 book, Clean Disruption, I said the lithium-ion battery would cost $100 per kilowatt hour by the end of 2023. Now, in September 2023, Benchmark Minerals Intelligence confirms lithium-ion battery just dipped below $100 per kilowatt hour. But Stellantis, among others, still think that EVs will only be for the rich, as they cannot make money on selling EVs. Well, then just step aside and let Tesla do what Tesla does best. The $25,000 EV is coming soon enough, and Tesla will still make something like 20% margin on that car. You do remember how we have been talking about this for years, that the $100 per kilowatt hour battery would be the spot where we get price parity with ICE cars. So the next couple of years is going to be really interesting. But legacy automakers continue to be clueless, and Tony Seba continues to be right. And we got a great quote from Tim Salmon that works at Tesla's AI team that shows the hardcore nature of the engineers that are shaping our future, from the interview with Walter Isaacson on the Lexman Freeman podcast.
I was working for Tesla Autopilot, and it was just so intense. He took some time off and then went to another company. He said, I was burned out at Tesla, but then I was bored at the next place. So I called, I think it was Ashok at Tesla, said, can I come back? He said, sure. Yeah. He said, I learned about myself. I'd rather be burned out than bored.
That's a good line.
I would rather be burned out than bored. Nice. And apparently the Megapack factory in Lathrop is starting to build the second production line. So that sounds like the first one is up and running and all issues has been ironed out. Next level of production, here we come. And the clown show continues with Gordon Johnson that is starting to getting real desperate, not even allowing the host to get her chance to speak. Embarrassing behavior.
I mean, I understand all the things you're saying, and I understand the perspective you're bringing, but at the same time, I do, because but when you look at scale and
this company's
size,
valued at $400 billion. That's ridiculous. They sell 450,000 cars a year.
But it's valuation like a tech company.
And okay, sorry.
It's like a tech company. It's like a tech company. It's not being
But it's
valued
not a
like
tech
an
company.
auto company.
98% of
It's
their
not.
gross
I know,
profit
but
in
when you
Q2
think
was from
about
selling cars.
it's a battery company, I know you're going to say they're not making their own batteries.
98% of their gross profit in Q2 was from selling cars. You and others have been saying this is a tech company for the past 5 years. Where is the tech? They're last at FSD. They buy their batteries from other people. This Dojo computer, literally, I just explained to you, is somewhat of a joke.
They make their own batteries.
But I know he's a moron. Gordon is a moron.
And Tesla launched in-app feature for the wall connector, available to Tesla owners and other EV owners as well. The features of the app includes a scheduled charging, real-time charging status, access to charging history, override scheduled charging via remote access, and charging settings for charging. Yes, Tesla has the best app for electric vehicles in the world, and it just got better. And to Gordon Johnson, yes, this is an app that all made by Tesla themselves. You know, the software company. And the politicians of the EU Commission are discussing how to stop the Chinese invasion of cheap, affordable electric cars we are standing right in front of, by setting up tariffs for imports of Chinese-made cars. But Mercedes boss Ola said tariffs and trade barriers with China are not the way forward. We should hold free trades. But as more legacy automakers are partnering up with Chinese automakers to make EVs in China, I do understand why the Germans probably don't want to have these barriers up. But the very affordable Chinese EVs is yet to hit the market. The ID3 and the Cupra is not that far off the BYD's Auto 3. But when BYD's Seagull get here, together with all the other small EVs, we could see the invasion taking shape. The matter is still being debated internally in the EU Commission, and we are still waiting for final decisions. According to an anonymous letter, the burning of 15 Tesla vehicles in Germany was arson. A left-wing radical group has claimed responsibility for the arson of 15 Teslas in Frankfurt-Fessenheim. The act took place on the occasion of the IAA in Munich and in protest against Tesla, the company, and entrepreneur Elon Musk, according to the unverified and anonymous statement on the internet. Because EVs are not clean because of the materials in them. Oh my god. People are still very uninformed. I guess they have not heard about the Circularity Gap report and don't know that batteries can be recycled forever. And when we take recycling into calculation, ICE vehicles use between 300 to 400 times more materials in its lifetime. But hey, people that set fire to other people's stuff is probably by definition not very smart. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should definitely watch my video, The Materials We Mine. I have just put it on X as well. Link down below. And Autoline Daily had Han from Caresoft to show off Tesla's brilliant modularity of their car design. It all just snaps into place, and almost everything that does need fasteners is fastened from the top, something an Optimus robot could easily do down the road. Tesla's design is just so impressive.
With one part less on the vehicle.
And do you think that this could be done by robots in the future?
Maybe, yes. You no need fastener to put these two parts.
They just snap together.
You just snap together. Put it on each side. It's a nice thing to give to the customer extra space for storage. In fact, install the insulation without any fastener. So you just snap in.
It snap fit.
It snap fit, so you just put inside. And the same for the insulation.
And there you go, one person. Usually it takes two people, one on each side to do it.
And that's all. Yeah. We have assembled the car. So you have less part, less complexity, and quicker assembly of the car.
Love that. Looks so easy, and these are things normal people never see, but are one of the many things that make Tesla so special, and why Tesla can have industry-leading margin on their cars compared to everyone else. Because Tesla actually has made innovation in the way we produce a car, and why Toyota's own engineers call the Model Y a work of art. And Ford showed off their 61th version of the F-150 ice truck, and as Sawyer pointed out, they really want to make everyone think this is the most American-made truck. But Cars.com ranked the F-150 Lightning as only the 38th most American-made vehicle in the US, and Tesla takes the top 4 spots. So the Cybertruck will likely be in the top 10 as well, making it the most American truck from a US-based automaker. Sorry Ford. Enjoy it while it lasts. And we did get even more videos this week of the truck loaded with Cybertrucks. So where are all these trucks going? We did see some off-road action as well, one doing some off-road testing with a very high suspension. And we also saw them charging next to each other, one low and one with high suspension. The cars just look so different from low to high. But Elon, when we will get that delivery event? Come on, can't wait anymore. And Tesla isn't just winning the charging race in the US and getting the most grants, but they are also getting the most funding in Europe too. Tesla will receive 42% of the $352 million in alternative fuel infrastructure facility funding round. With this, Tesla will deploy 7,198 of the 250 kilowatt charging point in 687 locations in 22 countries. Yep, Tesla is leading the charge. And speaking of charging, we just got 50,000 superchargers installed worldwide. Thank you, Tesla, for taking the chance 11 years ago to build out your own charging network, as no one else wanted to help out. But now they all want a piece of the action. And Tesla has single-handedly pushed the entire industry to go electric. Thank you. And before we end up with a bit of fun, I just want to give a shout out to my newest YouTube members, Jeff South and Adria Tichans. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And the t-shirt I use for Supporter of the Week is unfortunately out of stock at the moment, so we will get back to Supporter of the Week hopefully very soon. But instead, let's end off with a bit of fun. Tesla brings so much fun to the cars, and people that don't know about all of Tesla's features, well, we can have a little bit more fun.
Give me a second, I forgot something in the house.
Get me the fuck out of this car! How the fuck you stop this fucking car? Oh, no!
That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And don't forget, if you want to become an executive producer and get news articles during the week, exclusive videos, and access to all my research, charts, and spreadsheets, head over to bestintesla.com and join with the members button. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to a donation options in the show notes. And also as simple as hitting the super like button. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.